the most common questions I get, and especially it's more of a concern than a question. And it's especially from women, and that is that I want to be strong, but I don't want to get too bulky. So today I wanted to clear this up properly because this fear can stop so many people, especially women, from doing the very thing that would make them look better and feel better, but also age better. And we're hearing so much about strength training that I feel that this is coming up more often because people are like, oh, I can hear, I'm reading all the information about the importance of strength training, but I'm just unsure. So let's dive into the information and get rid of some of that concern. So, firstly, muscle doesn't just appear accidentally. So, building muscle takes time, it takes intentional training, it takes consistent effort, it takes quite a large sum of food. And also time, and it doesn't happen by mistake. You need to be quite intentional. And look, over the years, I've been trying to add on muscle mass in different stages in my life, and it does take a fair amount of effort. And the thing is that most people feel that they've bulked up, haven't actually gained much muscle at all. And we can definitely gain muscle because I've seen it happen. But what's usually happening that they're unhappy with is they feel like they may be getting thicker, and that's because the strengthening happening of the muscles is still being covered by a layer of fat that is still probably there because the nutrition side of it hasn't been addressed properly. The body fat hasn't reduced. So rather than seeing a toned version of themselves, they've got this tone happening under the surface of the skin and under that layer of body fat, which can appear feeling tighter in clothes, for example. So the shape feels firmer but not leaner, and that can feel uncomfortable if you don't actually understand what's happening. Like I get it, and that's not getting bigger or bulking up as a result of the training. It's just a transitional phase where we need to make sure that we are then adding in the changes to our nutrition and also the style of training that we're actually doing to help with that reduction of body fat so that you can start to see some of that muscle tone underneath, which is then going to make people a hell of a lot happier. A lot of how we look has got a lot to do with body shapes. And it is about your general muscle composition. And the thing is that when people are wanting to lose weight or just appear smaller, they often think that skipping strength training is going to be part of that process. And if anything, the absolute opposite of that is true because strength training improves your body composition, it increases your muscle tones. What actually is muscle tone? Basically, it's just increasing muscle size and the amount of fibers. Also, water comes into muscles, so they just appear firmer and bulkier. So, muscle tone is like an interesting concept because we can see muscle tone and shape when we just reduce the body, the layer of body fat that's just over the top of it. But also, strength training increases your metabolism. It allows you to burn more, which basically then means that you're going to burn more of the food that you're consuming, which is going to speed up that body fat loss. It also protects bones. These are some of the most more important things. It protects bone, it improves your posture, and it will help you to increase your longevity over time. So, trying to stay small or lose weight by avoiding strength training is absolutely going to work against you over the long term. I think that's a really important message to get through is that strength training is part of the goal and not something that we should keep away from because there's just too many benefits outside of that it actually does help you to reduce body fat. So the goal isn't to be smaller. The goal is for me 100% to be stronger, to be leaner, and to be more capable in my day to day life. And muscle doesn't make you bulky. It's about not fueling your body properly and eating correctly to not only increase your muscle mass size and therefore your metabolism, but also to reduce that body fat so you can see it visibly. So now the question goes to, well, how heavy should we be lifting? Is make sure that we are lifting heavy enough to challenge the muscle. Because one thing that is really important to create change in your body shape is that you challenge your body. If you don't challenge your body, and what I mean by that is if you're doing high repetition exercises with a lower weight that your body's capable of, Yes, you're going to burn some extra calories, and yes, you're going to condition and to make some improvements. But unless the body is challenged, it's not going to make huge changes because change takes effort, it takes time, and it takes resources. And unless the body absolutely has to do that because you're pushing it to the degree that it doesn't have capacity for what you're asking of it, it will not make those changes. So, a simple guide to how heavy should we go and what should we be doing is to choose the weight that you can lift anywhere between 6 to 10 repetitions. And this is for the average person, especially important for women. Perform 3 to 4 sets of these 6 to 10 repetitions. And the key is to remember we're not stopping an exercise because we achieved the 8 repetitions. We actually want to be stopping the exercise because you can't physically do another rep with good form of that particular exercise. So the idea is by 6, 7, or 8 repetitions, it should start to feel challenging for you. And you should feel strong, you should feel focused and challenged by the end of your set. You're like, I don't think I've got many more in here. So if you could easily do 10 or 12 repetitions with a particular exercise and a weight that you are doing, then that weight is just too light. So the challenge is what signals the body to adapt and to actually strengthen. So we want to give it that challenge. So if you're new to strength training, though, just be mindful, or if you're returning after a long break, the first 3 to 4 weeks is going to be more about building foundations. So that means not necessarily pushing yourself, but getting back into the routine of strength training, sort of waking the body up to the fact that, hey, we're doing all this new activity, learning the good technique, feeling the muscles working, and building confidence under load. And then you can increase the load over time. Because in that foundational phase, we also want to let the joints and the connective tissue adapt to these new exercises that you're doing. So you don't need to rush that introductory phase, but once you are through that phase, if you do that correctly, you're going to set yourself up for some long-term results where you can start to then push with heavier weights and progressively overload your body, gradually increasing the weight or the challenge of a particular exercise so that it does do the job of strengthening your body. So I think the bottom line is that you don't need to fear muscle. You just need to understand it and embrace the many benefits that it's going to give you. Make sure that we're lifting with intention, that we are lifting heavy enough and challenging our bodies enough so that they do adapt and change. And then make sure that you're fueling your body correctly so that you are going to fuel the activity and you can give it the nutrients that it needs to heal and repair and strengthen and to grow. But also, we want to make sure that we fuel ourselves in such a way that we can also shift some of that body fat as well. And instead of worrying about getting bulky, just start noticing how much better you're going to feel, how much stronger, how better you're going to move, how you're going to feel better in your clothes, and just trust that heavy strength training is definitely the answer to your long term health.